Hello friends, I am Satpal Verma here from Government National College Sirsa. I hope all of you are staying home safe and sound. In the last video we talked about two important poetic forms, sonnet and lyric, and today we are going to discuss two another important poetic forms, ode and elegy. First of all, let's talk about ode. Ode is a long lyric poem. It is serious in subject and treatment. Its style is elevated, that is of high standard. Its style is grand. It has an elaborate stanzaic pattern. Stanzaic pattern means stanza structure. It expresses lofty sentiments and thoughts. Lofty means noble. It can be poetic or private. The public is used for various ceremonial occasions like birthdays, funerals, state events, etc. For example, Alfred Tennyson's Ode on the Death of the Duke of Wellington. In this, ode, there is public treatment, there is public event, there is public figure. The private is most of the time meditative and reflective. Herein, it celebrates personal and subjective occasions. And as for example, we can quote Ode to a Nightingale. Next, we shall talk about types of ode. There are three types of ode, dear friends: the regular or the Pindaric ode, the irregular ode, and the Horatian ode. First of all, we shall talk about the regular or the Pindaric ode. The Pindaric ode was named after the Greek poet Pindar. So, underline it, that Pindaric ode or the regular ode was named after a famous Greek poet Pindar, and Pindaric is adjective of the noun Pindar. He modeled his odes on the songs of the chorus, that is a group of actors in Greek drama. Its structure, it has three parts as far as structure is concerned: strophe, antistrophe, and epode. And so this structure was based on the movements of the dancer. So there was a close resemblance between the structure of the Pindaric ode and the movements of the dancer. It was introduced into English literature by Ben Jonson. William Wordsworth's Ode on Intimations of Immortality ode can be a good example of the Pindaric ode in English. So that's all about Pindaric ode, though we shall keep comparing it with another types of ode when we shall discuss the irregular ode or Horatian ode. So let's come to next slide, the irregular ode. It was introduced in English by Abraham Coley. It followed the Pindaric style and meter. Keep in mind, it means the irregular ode, or more particular, we can say Abraham Coley imitated or followed the Pindaric style and meter, but he disregarded the stanzaic pattern, means he did not follow the stanza pattern of Pindaric ode. That is, as far as the stanzaic pattern is concerned, there was no regularity, there was irregularity, and that's why this type of ode is called irregular ode. This type of irregular stanzaic pattern has been common for the English ode ever since. It means the odes which were written by English poets, they followed this irregular stanzaic pattern. As for example, we can quote John Keats' remarkable ode, Ode on a Grecian Urn. Dear students, keep in mind, or your friends as well, Dear friends, keep in mind that Pindar's odes were written to praise or glorify someone. Underline it. That is, in Pindaric odes, a specific person or a particular person was praised or glorified or eulogized. The earlier English odes and many later ones were also written to eulogize or glorify someone or something. Something. Keep in mind that in English sonnet something was added. In addition to glorifying someone, they also glorified something. For example, in there is a famous ode written by Johann Dryden, and its name is Alexander's Feast. Here he glorifies the arts of music or poetry. And in Anne Klingru, it's a type of ode, and here Dryden glorifies a particular person. So with passage of time, the object of glorification kept changing or kept adding. The Romantic poets, for example, perfected the personal ode of description or passionate meditation. They try to resolve a personal emotional problem or a generally human problem or human one. For example, Wordsworth's Intimations Ode, it's also known as Immortality Ode, Coleridge, S.T. Coleridge's Dejection and Ode, and P.B. Shelley's Ode to the West Wind. These can be quoted as famous and remarkable, examples of the irregular ode or the English ode. Now let's come to Horatian Ode. The Horatian Ode was originally modeled on the odes of Roman writer Horace. Okay, that's why it is called Horatian Ode. Horatian Ode you can call. It is written in homostrophic form. Homostrophic form. Homostrophic means a single repeated stanza form. So please do not get confused that it is homostrophic form. Here a single stanza form is repeated again and again. That is why it is called homostrophic form. It is, and if we compare the Horatian Ode with Pindaric Ode, the Horatian Ode is shorter than Pindaric Ode. It is calm, meditative, and colloquial as well, while Pindaric Odes are, visionary and formal in language. As for example, Johann Keats' True Autumn is a good example of Horatian Ode. So, dear students, that's all about ode, and keep in mind while studying your odes prescribed in your syllabus that there are three types of odes. Keep in mind their various feature. Keep in mind their similarity and dissimilarity as well. And more important, never forget that ode is also a type of lyric poem, and lyric that we have already discussed in our first video lecture, Poetic Forms Part 1. So now let's move towards elegy. Elegy is an important poetic form, and the word elegy comes from the Greek word elegos, and elegos means song. So it is a reflective lyric poem. Keep in mind, reflective lyric poem. So first of all, it is lyric, and then it is reflective, or you can say meditative. Meditative and reflective are the same. Then it laments the death of a public figure, of a friend, or a loved one. Means there is lamentation. If there is lamentation on the death of say a particular person, so it surely deals with the theme of human mortality, since human mortality and death are quite interlinked. And as per examples are Alfred Tennyson's In Memoriam, written in 1850 on the death of Arthur Hallam, and W.H. Audens in memory of W.B. Yeats, written in 1940. These are remarkable example of elegy, dear friends. So keep in mind that the term elegy is generally used in broader sense for somber meditations. It is never used in limited sense. And for example, Thomas Gray's elegy, written in a country churchyard, deals with the mortality of human beings and the passing of things they value. So next, move to next slide. Categorization, that is categories of the elegy. As far categories of elegy are concerned, you can see in the slides as well. These are four types, and first of all we shall take up first three, that is threnody, monody and dirge. First of all, let's take up dirge. Dirge is a versified expression of grief on the occasion of the death of a particular person. But it differs from the elegy in that it is short and less formal. Keep in mind, it is less formal and short. It is usually presented as a text to be sung. So it's a type of song. Examples are William Shakespeare's Full Fathom 5 Thy Father Lies and William Collins' song from Shakespeare's Cymbeline. So it's a dirge type of song. And threnody is nowadays used as an equivalent for dirge. So there is no difference. As far as monody is concerned, it is used as an equivalent for elegy or dirge, which is presented as being the utterance of a single person. And you will be surprised to know, dear students and dear friends, that John Milton describes his Lycidas in the subtitle as a monody. So according to John Milton, there is no difference between elegy and monody. And Matthew Arnold as well called his elegy on A.H. Kellogg Thyrsis a monody. So each of the three categories, that is threnody, monody and dirge, are very similar in that they are songs or poems that lament a particular person's death. So there is no difference, and these terms have been extensively used by various poets as a substitute for elegy. Now let's come to a very important type of elegy called pastoral elegy. It represents its subject as an idealized shepherd in an idealized setting. Keep in mind, idealized, there is an idealization, and there is a shepherd. It begins with an expression of grief and invocation to the muse. Muse is, a goddess of poetry. It shows the inevitability of death and decay. Means death and decay is always there as far as elegy is concerned. It contains a funeral procession, means wailing and mourning is there. And it ends with the justification of the laws of nature. That is always there. That the poet always tries to justify the laws of nature. Notable examples of pastoral elegy are John Milton's Lycidas, P.B. Shelley's Adonis, and Matthew Arnold's Thyrsis. Last but not the least, let's move to the next slide. Let's compare and contrast these two poetic forms, ode and elegy. And you can see on the slide as well, it will help you compare various basic features of these two poetic forms. So let's read the slide. Let's take ode first. That is first point. Ode is a formal, often ceremonious lyric poem that glorifies an individual event or a concept. So it is, ceremonious lyric. An elegy is a poem of serious reflection, characteristically a lament for the dead. And in ode we have glorification. So first and second point are the same. Ode praises, glorifies and venerates, that is worships, and elegy mourns and laments. So there is a wide difference. Odes typically Pindaric and Horatian odes have formal structure, while elegy have no formal structure. There is no formal stanzaic pattern. The elegy writer or the poets are free to use any structure. And last, odes arouse emotions like delight, wonder, and astonishment. These are associated with celebration or glorification. While in elegy, elegies arouse emotions like woe, despair, and sorrow. So there is a lot of difference, dear students. And John Keats' Ode on a Grecian Urn and Thomas Gray's Elegy written in a country churchyard are prescribed in your syllabus for study. Read these poems and try to identify various features associated with these poetic forms which we have already discussed in this video lecture. In case of any problem, query, doubt, you can drop your query or doubt in the comment box so that I can resolve the same at the earliest. And next time we shall discuss another two most important poetic forms, dramatic monologue and free verse. Till then, stay safe, stay home. Thanks for watching and all the best.